one. Hi everyone, we have a swap coming up and it's something we haven't done before. It's called Deco squares, short for decorative squares. Now it's a little bit of a misnomer. It doesn't have to be a square. It could be a hexagon, a circle, a flower. But what I'm going to do is show you how to make them so that you have some ideas and you know exactly what you're doing for the next swap. Here are all of the ingredients we're going to use to make our deco squares or decorative squares. I'm actually making squares, but I'll show you a few different options later on for sizes, for shapes. What I have here, everything's pre-cut, so I've got 3. We always work in sets of 3. That odd number, it just works. Can't tell you why, it just seems to always work. And you can use these, of course, on cards, layouts. You can use them in your pocket scrapbooking, regular scrapbooking, or on altered projects, or even just singular ones on mini cards. It's completely up to you how you use them. These backing pieces of black cardstock are 2 inches by 2 inches, or roughly 5 by 5 centimeters. You don't want to go below 4.5 centimeters, and you don't want to really go much above 5 centimeters. It's just the perfect size. These pieces of pattern paper, it's the same paper. I've just used it double-sided so that there's a bit of contrast, so it's the same but different. And this last one, I actually literally had 2 small offcuts that worked together really well, so I turned that into one piece. They are 1 3/4 inches, so they just have 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, which shows off your cardstock on the back and leaves a nice border. Today I'm using this Sweet Stamp Shop set called Panda Face. You can actually get that one from my website. It's very, very cool. And I've pre-stamped and cut out these little pandas. I love this panda because he's got all these different expressions. The next thing I have stamped are a few different sayings that go with the little mouth on our panda. So this is our Met panda. He's a happy panda. He's a surprised panda. And I've also cut some red cardstock to make little mats to go with it. So you can literally make these from scraps. Fantastic. And when we're making these for a swap, we're actually making 6 sets of 3. So you're going to want them all to coordinate together so they can be used together. I've used foam tape on the back of the little pandas to give them some dimension, and I've used double-sided tape for the rest, and I've pre-applied it. So it's time to put these all together. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to do is actually add a little more embellishment on these. I'm going to use some Kaiser Craft droplets from my stash. I'm going to use some red sequins and some kind of neutrally sequins. I would use clear or white, but I don't have any, so I'm kind of just working with what I've got. That's why I love making these. They're the perfect stash buster. So I'm just going to randomly add a few. I'm using my Tombow Mono adhesive to add the little sequins. Make sure you split them out, or you find yourself gluing down more or less than you actually want. So you only need a really small amount of glue on the back, and you can just scatter them about quite randomly on your deco squares. And when I say identical, I mean that the design should be identical. If you know, you randomly decide to add your sequins, or you know, you run out of one kind of paper because you're working from your scraps, just substitute in a different color. As long as the design's the same, I'm less likely to get all confused and accidentally send you back one of your own or something like that. A couple of other things that you can add to these. I love using stamps on these just because I do tend to stamp a lot. It's kind of like having an embellishment that never runs out. But other things you can add are brads, paper flowers. You can make your own flowers. Use some of the segments you've seen on Scrap It TV. You can use washi tape. You can add, I don't know, ribbon, all sorts of things. Just remember that if you're making a set of 6 of these, 6 out of 6 threes are 18, so you're going to have 18 of the same thing. That's one reason that I particularly like stamps, because essentially once I've paid for the stamp set, it doesn't cost me anything to stamp it out over and over and over again. So I'm just adding some little droplets here. Boom, there we have it. My 3 decorative squares are done, and they will be fantastic to line up on a card or to add to a layout or in some pocket scrapbooking. So I'm going to show you a few other ideas. These are some square ones, but of course you can go with different shapes. Here I've used Stampin' Up! Scallop circle or a flower punch. I've also used a 1 inch, maybe it's a 1.5 inch punch on the inside, and I've just added different embellishments to each. Another idea is the hexagons. I've lightly inked those, and on this one, I don't know if you can see it, I'll add a photo at the end of the video so you can. I've actually stamped the word fly from a darkroom door set, and these are just some little butterflies, and I've popped some up on foam mounts so that they've got a little bit of dimension. It doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, sometimes the simpler the better. They do have to be embellished, so do add embellishments of some sort. They do need to be a little bit textury. This one I've actually run the black flowers through an embossing plate before I put it all together. Just a few ideas. You can use all sorts of shapes. If you've got a die cut machine, a Sizzix, a Cuttlebug, a Silhouette, a Cricut, whatever you've got, use some of your fantastic dies, cut them around the 2 inch mark, start layering things up and really have some fun with Deco squares. I really hope you enjoyed that little project, and if you're an Australian resident and would love to join in on a swap, I'll leave a link below so that you can find all of the details. Fastest way is to go to my website at www.dawnlewis.com.au, join up the newsletter, and you'll get all the new arrivals in my store, new classes that are running, swaps that are happening. You know, if it's fun, it's exciting. If I'm going to be somewhere, it'll be in the newsletter. So have a go, join us for a swap, and I'll see you next time.